Hey YouTube, welcome to my latest video. This is a sales roundup, week ending August the 7th, 2018. It's been quite a slow week this week. I had a good start to the month, and then I've had a few days where I've really made like literally 2 or 3 sales per day. Picked up again yesterday, I had some good sales yesterday. Not as many sales as usual this week, and I've also removed the ones that aren't that interesting as well, just to keep this quite short this week. But let's begin. This item was a good item. It was a Sony Handycam. I actually went through a day of testing all my camcorders out because I had loads of them from the auction that I'd sort of stored up and not got round to testing, because I like to get quite a few so that I can put the different wires or put the different tapes with each one to make up nice sets, because sometimes I buy the cameras and it's just the camera on its own, or it's the it's missing a wire, or it's missing all the tapes, and I can use the tapes from another lot I get from auction. So if I store them up until I have about 5 of them, and then I put them all on. But this one was a nice one, one of the better ones I had. It's a Sony TR441E, which is a Video 8 camcorder. It's fully working, really nice camcorder actually. It came with a power pack. I don't think this one came with any batteries because the batteries just wouldn't charge, so I discarded the batteries, but the power pack actually charged the batteries in the camera and also powered the camera itself. So I discarded the batteries and just sold it with the power pack. Most people don't really need the batteries because they generally buy these to convert their old Video 8 or High 8 or compact VHS tapes to DVD or to their computer. So they're only really interested in whether it plays the tapes, and as long as it can get power somehow enough to do their tapes. So this was a good sale. The only thing you need to be careful of with selling these is that I've had a couple of returns in the past. Not that many compared to how many cameras I actually sell, so I do sell quite a lot of these, but I do get them where I think they've converted their 2 or 3 tapes they wanted and then they return. Basically gets it converted for free, which is really annoying, but there's not a lot you can do about it. But I think most people are honest, and this one sold for $79.99, which is fantastic. This is a Land Rover steering damper part, which came from the car parts lot I got the other week at auction. It cost me £6 for the whole box. I've already sold a few parts from it, and this one is another one, and it sold for £17.98 free shipping. It's quite heavy, but it went Hermes. But it's brand new. The box was a bit tatty, like all the parts I got from that lot, but the actual item inside was brand new. So I priced them competitively because you're going against people like GSP, not GSP, whatever it's called. I can't remember what it's called. There's Euro Car Parts. You're going against people like Euro Car Parts on these, so you really need to price them competitively to be able to get them sold. But that was a good sale. This is something I've had for quite a long time. it was one of those items I wasn't going to bother listing, but I thought I'd just throw it on there and stick it in storage. These were brand new till rolls. I think they came with some sort of calculator I bought that was faulty. So I separated the till rolls out because these ones were sealed, and sold them for £4.98. Oh, excuse me. And I sold them for £4.98 plus the postage, and they went Hermes. This is a Sinclair Spectrum cassette tape. I actually had this on sale for ages, right? And I've reduced the price. Eventually sold for £2.50 delivered. Luckily it goes large letter. But it's one of those weird ones where I'd actually bought a computer last week, and my plan was to end this item, bundle them up, and put this tape with the actual computer. But typically the tape sold as soon as I had the idea. I don't know why these things happen, but they do. Anyway, it sold for £2.50. Large letter, I think it went for 78p. So there's probably about £1 profit after all of the fees and what have you. So not brilliant there. This is a bundle of these I got from auction quite a long time ago. They're brand new, couples card game. I've actually got about 20 of these. I think they do well towards Valentine's Day, but I actually picked these up about a month after Valentine's Day. I think it was somebody just clearing their old stock at auction. So I picked them up, and I put them on sale, and I sell one every couple of months. This one sold, not very high price, but as I say, they'll sell at Valentine's Day next year. But they're listed and on there in my storage. Not much profit again, went large letter. I actually have to take these out the box and fold the box flat to fit it in an envelope. I don't really have any problems with that, but it allows me to do it cheap, so I guess they don't mind. This is a bundle of Betamax tapes. I didn't actually sell the ones pictured here. The buyer messaged me. I've got quite a few bundles on auction, and not on auction, on Buy It Now at the moment. The buyer messaged me, said they wanted 3 items from this. I think there was 2 they wanted from here: Krull and The Last Starfighter, and then they wanted another. I think it was. I can't remember what they wanted. I wanted another one from another bundle. So they offered me £15 delivered for those 3 ones. So I did that. They bought this one via an offer, and I sent them the tapes they actually wanted, and I rephotographed, created new bundles, and relisted the ones that were remaining. So I got £15 delivered for this particular sale. This is a Deacon Blue Real Gone Kid 45 RPM vinyl record. Sold for £4.98 free postage. It goes large letter. I actually wrapped these in cardboard, and I have no problems with that. They go for 78p. And as I said before, I think in my sales roundups, I'm into profit now with all these records. So this was pure profit. Obviously it cost me to post it and the fees. This is a vintage Sexy Lips telephone, a shiny pink one. These were brand new in the box. I've sold a couple of these, not the shiny pink ones, but I've sold a couple of these Lips phones that have been second hand, and I've always done really well. Get over a tenner for them, even second hand. And this one was brand new, so I priced a little bit higher. There's quite a few on eBay, so I had to be competitive. But yeah, these sold for $14.99 plus the postage. Quite a nice item. This proves we're heading towards Q4 now, in full force. This is a board game. Harry Potter Seen It. It's got to be Q4 to be able to sell a Seen It. But I got $8.99 free postage. That was a really nice one. It wasn't brand new, but it was in really good condition. Didn't look like it had been played with, to be honest with you. This was a brand new board game, a vintage Kaplunk from the 90s. I sold this for $18.95 with free postage. It was all sealed, really nice. This one came from auction. This is the Sinclair Spectrum that I wanted to bundle with the cassette tape I showed you earlier, but it sold pretty quick at $19.99. It was completely untested because I haven't got any wires with it, TV wires or power pack, so I sold it as untested. It was quite tatty. It had all this sellotape markings. I did use the sticky off to try and get that off, but it seemed to be really hard to remove. So I just cleaned it as best I could and then listed it as it was. And it sold for £20 with postage. So I was very pleased with that sale, because that is pretty much the high end for an untested, parts or not working item. I basically put, this is untested, sold as seen, no returns please, although I do obviously have to accept returns from being a business seller. I've got 14 days return anyway, but you've got the 30 days eBay money back guarantee as well. But I do put no returns please, presume faulty, if it works it's a bonus. And by wording these untested items like that, I generally don't get any issues. Obviously they could put in a return anyway, but I think most people are genuine. As long as they know that it's untested, it's the buyers who buy them, and they don't read the description, they just see the pretty picture, click buy. So I always make sure that untested is in the title and it's all over the description. This is a new home sewing machine. This was a nice one. It's fully working, with a cover and a pedal, etc. And I got $49.95 for it. It was really nice, and it was $9.99 postage, but I actually managed to send this quite a lot cheaper, so I made a little bit more on the postage as well. This is a cassette tape of Madonna, the Immaculate Collection. This actually fetches quite a lot, considering it's a tape. This is £5 free postage, went large letter for 79p. So I was pleased with that one. This is a Panasonic DAB digital radio hi-fi. This is actually a really nice unit. It was a bit scuffed here and there, but it's a DAB radio. It had an iPod connector on. I printed out the manual, as you can see from the photo there. Printed out the manual, and it came with the speakers. It came with an FM radio. It didn't come with a DAB radio, DAB aerial. So they'd have to source one of them, but I did mention that in the description. Yeah, it's a really nice unit. This sold for £39.95 plus $4.99 postage. This is a Power Play cruiser joystick for Amigas and Ataris, that sort of computer. This sold for $19.95 plus £3.50 postage. It was a really nice one. It still had the rubber feet on the bottom. The connection was all nice. These fetch quite a decent price now. This is a Toshiba VHS cassette tape player. Again, fully working. I put the SCART lead with it. I actually got a big bundle of wires from an auction recently. Cost me about £3, £4, something like that for the box. But it came with loads and loads of 12-volt adapters, which I use all the time for electricals and things, and loads of skirt leads. So I've kept all those to put with all these video recorders and DVD players I sell. So it's always worth looking out for. If you sell this sort of thing, always look out for additional wires and leads that you can store up, that you can use to complete items when you get them. But this was a nice VHS tape player, fully working. I don't think I could find a manual online for this one, but it's really nice when it came with the auxiliary output there, and it had quite a good few features on that particular player as well. Quite a modern, well, I say modern, but one of the later ones. It was a nice unit, and it sold for $34.95 very quickly, plus the postage. Possibly could have got a little bit more for that one. It had NTSC and PAL playback as well, so you can play your US tapes on your normal UK TV, which is probably why it sold quite quick. This is a Simply Red cassette tape, a new flame, sold for £2.95, free shipping, but it went large letter for 78p, so nice and cheap. A little bit of profit there, but not great. This is another new home sewing machine. This was a 535 model, quite a popular model this is, and it sold for $59.95. I think I might have took an offer actually. Let me just check. No, it sold for full asking price. So I was really pleased with this one. It's very heavy. Ended up going parcel force. How I packaged these up, I put the pedal in between the gap in the case, but wrapped in bubble wrap. Then I put cling film around all of that to keep the sewing machine attached to the base. I also make sure that the little compartment area at the side, as you can see, let me just find a better picture. Yeah, the compartment area just there, I make sure that won't lift up when it's packaged up. And then once I've put the cling film around that, I then put the lid on and I wrap it with cling film again, so that holds the lid in place. Obviously it's got clips itself, but with it jolting around in the package, it always needs to be secured, so I wrap it with cling film then, and then I wrap it with bubble wrap, then with foam, and then I basically wrap it in cardboard if I haven't got a box that is suitable, which usually I don't. So I get some really heavy duty boxes from Halfords which hold bikes in, and I think they're like triple thickness to a box, so I basically wrap it probably about 2 times round the sewing machine, and they always get there really well like that, never really have any problems, especially with being quite a high value sewing machine as well. So yeah, that's the best way to, well, best way I find to send these sewing machines. This is an interesting sale. This was a bottom of a box of rubbish, basically, in an auction. I think I bought the box for something else, can't remember what, but this was at the bottom, and I was going to throw it away, but then I looked, because I remember Nick Hills mentioning about vintage Lynx deodorants and stuff, so I thought I'd have a look to see if this is actually worth anything, and it was. There was somebody had sold it for £30, so I advertised mine for £29.95 a couple of months ago, and it's gone through a couple of cycles and it hasn't sold, so I reduced it slightly to $24.95 with the postage, and somebody bought it. It's a rare and discontinued fragrance apparently, and yeah, brilliant. It looked like it had never been used. There was, it was full, as you can see there. So yeah, nice sale, and basically pure profit on wherever I bought the auction lot for. This is a front lower ball joint for a Ford Transit, sold for £10.95 free shipping. It went Hermes. I had to compete with the likes of Euro Car Parts again with this lot, and my boxes were quite tatty. You can see it's quite dirty, but the contents were sealed. That's like a stock photo. Yeah, so £11 delivered. It's worth doing. This one came with a Sinclair Spectrum I bought, which I actually sold as spares and repairs again. It wasn't the one that I just showed you, it was a different one. I've still got it, hasn't sold yet, but I put this memory expansion pack separate because they sell for about £20 separately on their own, and it sold for £19.95 free postage. This is a Sky Digibox, again part of an auction lot, just extra to whatever I bought the auction lot for. This sold for £10 plus £2.99 postage. It did work. I tested it because I've got Sky myself, so it's just a case of swapping out a couple of wires to test it, and it worked, and I sold it for £10. I was quite surprised this actually sold, but I think a lot of people do want these old Sky boxes. Not quite sure why. Maybe for free sat, I'm not sure, but they do seem to go quite well. Obviously not really high value. I wouldn't spend too much buying one at a car boot sale or anything like that, but if you can get a bundle of them for a couple of £, then probably worth going on. This is another vintage joystick for an Atari or a Spectrum. Actually comes with the two connections. The grey one goes with Spectrum, and the black one goes with Ataris and Amstrads and things. And this sold for £20 plus the postage. This was something I wasn't sure whether to bother listing or not. It's a photograph album. I put vintage basically because it did look quite old, but don't know how old it actually is. But it was brand new, so I thought I'd stick it on there, and it sold for £9.95. This is another camcorder that I tested along with all the others I did the other week. This was a nice one again, a Sanyo. Came with a lovely Sanyo bag as well, branded bag. As you can see there's the Sanyo logo on. This one came with I don't know if this came with batteries. I don't think this one came with a battery either, but it came with the power pack that allowed you to power the camera, and I put a tape with it, fully working, and I received good feedback this morning actually on this one, saying he's really happy, perfect working order, so I'm very pleased with that. Managed to print out a manual online as well for it, which always helps sell. This is another joystick, this time a Conix Speed King, sold for £19.95 with free shipping. These are supposed to have like stickers on the top, but I had two of these. Sold the other one last week I think, Not sure if it was in my sales roundup or not, but this one didn't have the sticker, unfortunately. This is a digital Freeview box that I got part of an auction lot. It was fully working. Unfortunately, it didn't come with the remote control, so you had to use like a universal remote with it. But it did come in the box with the wires. I think it was basically brand new, but I sold it as used and requiring a remote for $9.99 free postage. And to be honest with you, I was fairly pleased to see that one go. This is another item that I've had for a long time, vintage Mastermind mini version. It was tiny. It was probably about that big, something like that. But it sold for $9.95 free postage, and it went 79p large letter. This is a pair of football boots that actually were my son's. He's grown out of them now, so I put them on sale. Sold for £9.95 plus the postage. Technically a big loss, because these again would have cost us about £50 new, but it's good that I can get a little bit back. I think I put these ones in the washing machine. They come up quite clean. This is something I wasn't going to list, but I thought I would. I actually bought two of them as part of another lot at auction. These were basically just in the box. One of them unfortunately was damaged. Too bad, so I couldn't sell it really, so I just dumped that. But this is the other one. It sold for £9.99 free postage. It came in the case. The case had some damage to it, but it was still usable. It was quite a good brand, so that's why it still held its value at second hand. This is a battery pack for HP iPack personal organizer. I actually sold the organizer separately, but it came with a brand new battery with it, so I put that on for £13 free postage because other people were selling them. And yeah, it sold pretty quickly, so a good way of getting that extra money out of an item. This is another item that I thought probably wouldn't be worth listing, but I did anyway. Not a great deal of value here. £8.95 free postage. It will go Hermes. It's really light, so I send it parcel to go, under 1 kilogram, for £2.39. This is a cute and soft polar bear. Really nice condition. This is something that was dumped in a big bundle of wires I got from the auction. Actually, the same box with all the SCART wires I mentioned earlier were in. And there was this Dreamland mattress protector remote control. They do seem to sell on their own, so I tested it all. Well, it came on and you could adjust it and change the temperature, but obviously I couldn't actually connect it to the mattress. But I still sold it as working on the basis that it seemed to control stuff. £12.95 free postage. This is something I've had on sale for quite a while now, probably about 6 months. But I kept the price quite high because it's such a nice item. I got $44.95 for it, plus the postage. Twin cassette, radio, high-speed dubbing, all the very retro looking. And yeah, I was really pleased with that sale. I was pleased to see that go. This is a Sony DVD player with remote control. Sold for $19.99. Oh, sold for $19.99 with $4.99 shipping. I put a SCART lead with it, and I printed out a manual online as well. This was something I've had in my storage for quite a while, and I hadn't got around to actually testing and listing it. It's quite a big item. It's a Casio CTK 1100 electronic keyboard. It sold for £60 plus $10.99 postage. I put a power supply with it because it didn't come with one, and I printed out user manual. So quite well presented. It was a nice keyboard actually, fully worked. So nice, lot of profit there. It would have only cost me probably about £5 or £6. This one is another cassette, £3.95, an Elton John album, and I haven't actually sent that yet, but that will go large letter. A CD micro hi-fi system with separate speakers here. This was Asda's own brand, so not really great value. I got an offer of £10 plus the postage. I took that. That'll go Hermes. Quite a cheap item, but it did work. I actually had to glue the speaker grill back on because it had snapped off, but you couldn't tell that. So a bit of repair on that, but it was a nice fully working item. This is something I got at the bottom of an auction box, two of these identical. I got an offer of £25 for the pair, which I took. They're brand new. These are basically radio controlled alarm clocks, which means the time is kept correct automatically by an FM RDS signal. They're brand new in the box. Had a thermometer built in and so on. So nice lot of profit there for something that was just dumped in the box. This is something I split off from a Sony Hi-Fi that I sold. This sells separately, so I thought I might as well list it separately. I printed out a manual for it. Before I sold the Hi-Fi, I was able to test it and it fully worked. And it sold for $17.99 plus $2.99 postage. This is a Sony alarm clock, a DigiCube, fully working, sold for $9.95 plus the postage. It took a while to sell this one actually, but I was pleased to see that go. And finally, this is a Star Wars Battlefront 2 and Jedi Star Wars Starfighter games for PS2. The money's really in the Star Wars Battlefront 2. The Jedi Starfighter game doesn't really hold much value, so I bundled them both up. Just thought it would help it sell. £6.49, free postage, and it sold pretty quick. Came with the manual. So that's everything I've got to show you from my sales this week. I'll hopefully have a video out during next week sometime. Otherwise I'll see you next Friday for another sales roundup. So bye for now.